Alright. What's up, guys? We are here with a game that came highly recommended to me. It is, of course, from the EU DreamHack Winter Season. It's one that's a little old now, but it came highly recommended, and the replays only just got released about a week or two ago, and we're finally getting a chance to look at a top-tier match between Harstem, El Capitan himself, a player who stepped up in a big way recently, had a bunch of great tournament performances, and he's going to be facing off against MaxPax, who is, of course, the Protoss player who has just cracked the top 10 on Aligulac. He has just made it into the top 10 players in the world, surpassing 3,000 rating on Aligulac. For those who don't know what that means, basically that is just a general ELO system that kind of tallies up the players across all the regions and everything. It's an individually run website, independently run, I guess I should say. And yeah, it's a pretty damn accurate measure of how well the player is doing, and that's because MaxPax has been killing it. His PvZ, I believe, is his strongest matchup right now, and but he's always been known as a god in PvT and PvP, and his Dark Templar especially is something that Harstem's gonna have to watch out for. Now, on the other hand, Harstem is a bloody genius when it comes to preparation and understanding strategies, but it just feels like MaxPax is probably, I mean, it's not probably, he is absolutely a massive favorite here, simply because he's going to be a bit quicker to make his decisions in terms of exactly what he wants to do. Now, notice Harstem saw the wall off, and he said, yep, you're one gate expanding, and he immediately pulled this probe home. So Harstem has something special planned, and having that probe hidden on the map means that MaxPax is not going to know where the proxy is. So Harstem going for a 2-gate opening, a bit more of a standard build order, and the moment he saw the gate, he ran away. And the reason is, if he went in deeper to check, are you going Nexus or not, then MaxPax would have been able to come down with his probe and just chase his probe, and then there's no way to get a secret proxy up. Now, this proxy position may seem bloody ridiculous. It may seem ridiculous, middle of the map, but because MaxPax is looking in all the proxy locations, which is never in the middle of the map, he's not going to check it. And look, he was going back through the middle, but he changes his direction. He's checking. He's like, well, you'd never build it in the middle of the map. That wouldn't make any sense. And MaxPax thankfully does realize there is that meta game of like, hey, I'm not going to look there. Therefore, there is a chance of doing that. Korean players have been doing this for a long time. They would proxy at Gateway a lot of the time for a 3-gate Stalker all in out here. And there's 2 Adepts on the way already. A Zealot coming out for MaxPax. He's going to try and depower this Robo. Now, of course, Harstem's got his probe there. He can build another pylon. He's going 2 Stalkers behind that. Stargate is on the way for MaxPax, as well as a Stalker, and he needs to build that shield battery in that natural right now. Look, Harstem's probe getting a bit of damage on the Zealot, but oh, he loses it. Okay, he's already put another probe down, though, so that's all right. And he's got 2 Adepts here. Harstem should be shading past for sure here. He's going to kill the Zealot, and he should be able to get the probe as well. Yeah, he gets that probe, and he's going to shade. No, he's not going to shade. He's actually just going to fight the Stalker head on, but that means he could lose this Adept. That Adept is just 2 shots from death, and this Adept going to continue to fight here, trying to pull back for a moment, but he can use the grass. There's nothing to spot over the grass for MaxPax, whereas if those Stalkers come towards the grass, the Adepts will be able to hit them, and there's more Stalkers coming. You got to run, MaxPax. MaxPax has got to get out of there. He's got to run. Okay, good pullbacks by him. And he's got his first Void Ray out, right? Does he? No, he doesn't yet, guys. He's going to go for a Forge as well and try to defend with cannons. Now, cannons are really good. The trick is, though, a Prism can lift the units in the main, which is why we will probably see MaxPax build like a cannon and a battery here to help kind of anchor his position. And he's already got a probe in the top looking for that Prism rotation. And it's going to start just by dropping a couple of workers. Behind this, Blinkers on the way. Harstem's actually not going all in immediately. A lot of players do this like they're on a really sharp timer. But Harstem's actually going to go Robo into Blink. And look at that, he's being real conservative right now. I gotta say, though, does Harstem, is he taking too long? I mean, it seems like this is a prepared strategy where Harstem's like, I know he's going to defend this, and I'm actually going to go for super late Blink with 3 gates, and we're just going to surprise him and overwhelm with Blink Stalkers. Now, 1-base Blink is a fantastic build order against this from MaxPax. Hass has shown he can break this build with 1-base Blink, because he can Blink in the main, kill a Stalker, the Void Rays, he picks them off, just fights away from the cannons and batteries, and you know, Hass is probably the master of beating this build, I'd say. As crazy as that is, there's very few players who are able to break it when MaxPax does this, and this is the problem MaxPax presents. Not only is this DT timing fantastic, but people just can't punish his 1-gate expand, and it frustrates the heck out of them. I've talked to multiple top Protoss players who are like, yeah, 1-gate expand doesn't work because this kills it, this kills it, this kills it. And I go, what about when MaxPax does his version with the Void Ray and the cannons? They go, oh, no, lots of people do that. It's just only MaxPax defends successfully. Like, everyone else dies. MaxPax just absorbs anything and just, like, keeps on moving. Now, Harstem's still trying to be cheeky, but he's down 6 workers. He's on 22 workers, guys. This is a tiny, tiny economy for him. He's going to try and push forward on the front. Now, guys, Stalkers. I think is it 13 Stalkers, 1-shots a Voidray. So he's only at 10 right now. He can 2-shot, which is okay. But really, the secret number with Blink versus Voidray is Voidrays become really average versus Stalkers once you get about 15, 16. Because you can just keep 1-shotting the Voidrays even as you lose 1 or 2 Stalkers. Now, the Adepts down there threatening. They're going to shade on into the main. The Stalkers coming forward, but the probes being pulled. The Adepts will go down. They're going to get just 1 or 2 probes. 1 probe. The Stalkers getting a lot of probes, though. Oh, that's some good damage. Now, of course, the problem is if you fight the battery overcharge and a cannon and the Voidrays prismatic alignment, that's where things get very nasty. Harstem's got to get out of it. This is a really bad fight for Harstem. Yeah, he stayed a bit too long. The moment battery overcharge and prismatic alignment were activated, he needed to pull out. But now that prismatic's gone and battery overcharge is gone, he could potentially just blink on the Voidrays and 1-shot them. He does need a few more Stalkers. He's only got 16 right now. So like I said, he's got enough to 1-shot the Voidrays, but you got to be really careful here. You gotta be really careful. MaxPax realizes he doesn't want to expose them. He gets 1. Harstem gets 1 Voidray, but the second one survives with 2 hit points. And now Big Daddy Immortal's out, guys. And the Immortal does not have to wait for prismatic alignment. A Voidray is almost as good as an Immortal, but only when it's using its prismatic alignment, which has a massive cooldown. The Immortal is permanently like that. Harstem activates the barrier, though. 300 hit points left on that. Oh, 1-shotting the cannon. I'd love to see him take that battery down, just because battery overcharge will be ready again in about 12 seconds. Oh, this positioning from MaxPax is really good. He's got another battery in the mineral line, of course. The Stalker's looking good. Still cannons in the natural. Does not want to fight there. That's 22 probes for Harstem, 20 for MaxPax. But MaxPax has the second base. If he stabilizes, he'll be good. If he can get out a second Immortal like he has now, a third Immortal, that would be big. 3 Voidrays, 2 Immortals. The thing is the Stalker count. It's such a nimble army, and if they can just volley the units down, they will destroy this. Harstem, he's very cautious right now. He set off a barrier, but the other one still has a barrier up. Battery overcharge is back up, and there is indeed energy for it. So that battery overcharge could save his bacon. I think MaxPax has to use it just to save the Nexus, potentially. That Nexus is like 2 shots from death, man. Yeah, he's got to use the battery. Okay. Gets a Stalker, does MaxPax the Nexus. He's not healing it right now. Oh, the Immortal! He dives on the Immortal. 1 Immortal goes down. The other Immortal, great pullback. Okay, an Immortal and a Voidray fall. Good force field to keep that Immortal back, but does lose quite a few Stalkers, guys. He's lost 9 Stalkers. He's on 17 Stalkers right now. Nexus falls. Battery overcharge is gone. He can kill these units. If Harstem goes, he wins the game right now. Harstem, go. There's no reason to dilly-dally. He's got to kill. The Voidray prismatic alignment's used. If he takes down the Immortals, he wins. Harstem needs to go right now. He's got to show that killer instinct. He's got this in the bag, but if he lets that next Immortal pop, the numbers could shift. Right now, Harstem has the winning army, but he lets it go. He lets it slip away. Harstem's letting MaxPax evacuate to his cannons and batteries in the natural, and this is a big missed opportunity for Harstem, who's still in an amazing position, but he just let the winning condition slip in by. And I say this, and this is not me being super critical of Harstem, guys, because keep in mind, Harstem's playing it safe. This is the exact same problem I had as a player back in my day, and it's what a lot of the players have. Whereas you look at a guy like I don't know who's the most killer instinct. Well, I think Parting's a bad example because he's got too much killer instinct to the point where he literally throws games all the time by being too aggressive. I'm trying to think of like who's really pristine with how they commit. Maybe Trap. I think Trap would have won the game there. Zest would have won the game there without necessarily throwing the game through over-aggression too often, you know, as the counter side of that. Now, don't get me wrong, Harstem's still able to pick off probes. Like, this is a terrible spot for MaxPax. MaxPax has just rebuilt his Stargate. He's actually continuing to commit to Voidrays. Man, what a disaster for MaxPax. I mean, right now, MaxPax is like, I'm gonna try and make a comeback. And, I mean, there's a reason he's got those testy pops, guys. He's like 17 years old. No, it's because it's a terrible spot. If I was Harstem, I'd just stay out there. I'd just keep looking to pick off those probes. I mean, he could break down the core in the gateway from down there. Looks like he's going to do that instead. There's no Nexus for Harstem, right? And that is a problem. He's starting to work on his own gateway with 1 probe to get out so he can expand. MaxPax drops the corner base. And, okay, this game's going to get... Okay, there we go. So he recalls his Prism home. He wants to take a base, but it's blocked. So he's going to take his third. Max Packs! Max Packs! Max Packs is going to block his third base as well. Max Packs is like, look, I really got to delay him expanding if I want to get back in this game. He's like, okay, have fun expanding, Harstem. Harstem's going to go take a fourth base and scout for the corner. Finding that corner is huge. I mean, the problem is Blink is just the better, more flexible tech in the long term. So as Harstem, this is really easy for him. It's just his composition scales better because the Stalkers are really nimble, whereas the Voidrays and the Immortals have an expiry date. So if Harstem can get to a macro game, it's just better for him. I'd like to see Harstem. So Harstem takes the fourth base. He scouts the corner of Max Packs. Max Packs has an Oracle going, but there's a battery and a sentry there, so he'll be fine. His unit's still skirmishing. Now, he's lost a total of 10 Stalkers this game. Keep an eye on that. Robo and Stargate going one more time. And oh, the Oracle finds the probes outside the base. He gets 4 probes. Not bad. Not bad at all. And remember, Harstem had not probed up at all, guys. Ooh, that's kind of shit, man. That's kind of shit. I mean, it's still just Voidrays and Immortals, though. So the thing is that Zealots counter the Immortals pretty well just because they do great damage. They take very little damage to either Voidrays or Immortals. And oh, Max Packs recalls probes. He didn't realize Harstem saw it. Oh, that's such a bad recall for Max Packs. That's so bad. He should try to run the probes. Harstem's not going for him just yet. Oracle's going to try to run in, gets another probe, and we'll get pushed back there. Meanwhile, these probes are going to go down. Yeah, I think he could have run those probes away. But as it is, Harstem here in a commanding position. And Max Packs is kind of like, can you please desperately all in into my cannon battery? That's like, that's the way I win this game. That being said, I mean, he's up in workers. He's going to try and retake his main base, which is hilarious. Still got a pylon blocking this third. Harstem's up over there. He's got his Warp Prism cosplaying as a pylon right now. Build a battery. Build a battery. Got to keep it safe, dude. Stalker's over here having some good times as well. Okay, Voidrays, Immortals. 5 Voidrays, 5 Immortals. And he's building this. So the Voidrays are the worst unit here. I think the Immortals should take priority. I do like that Harstem's going to try and just drop some balls on him, but it does take 2 balls to kill an Immortal. Now, if your balls explode simultaneously, the Immortal barrier doesn't get a chance to pop off. But if you go 1 ball, then another ball, even a fraction of a second later, the barrier will pop and survive. So there's this funny thing where if you do damage all at once, there's like no chance for the Immortal barrier to pop off, but that very rarely happens. Usually it's going to take them 3 Disruptor shots to die if the barrier gets up, I believe. Because it's 155 damage. Yeah, I think that's right. I think my numbers be right. We'll see. Voidray Immortal coming forward. Watch out for the ball. I would have thrown a ball there and tried to fight, but I'm also really bad at StarCraft. Okay, gets a Voidray or 2. This is a bunch of Stalkers. Oh, flanking ball! Flanking ball! Oh, you know what they say about those Dutch players, guys? They're so tall, you never know where their balls are going to come from. And that's the case with Harstem. For those who don't know, if you've never seen Harstem in real life or next to other humans standing up outside of his streaming or YouTube setup, Harstem is actually 7 foot tall. And yeah, he's some call him the big friendly giant, but I'm gonna say, man, when he's trying to slap those disruptors on you, he ain't so friendly, dude. He's a bit of a brutal guy. So nice flanking ball there. Did just do some damage. He's gonna add charge to deal with the Immortals. Like I said, you get like 10 Zealots. They're gonna deal with the Immortals. You just blink forward, focus the Voidrays down, and yeah, the Immortals can focus fire on the Stalkers, but it's always like awkward, and they're gonna like just freak out a little bit. You're gonna misclick a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect. And the bigger the fights go, the harder focus fire is. Like in general, in RTS games, people are like, oh, this unit beats that unit, and then I just make sure those units are hitting those units and it's all good. And it's like, that's all good and well in small skirmishes. As soon as a fight gets big, you want units that generally just do well, because you just can't make sure everything's hitting the right units. You just can't actually do it. You've got to make sure, you know, so that's why certain units, you know, big splash damage things just do way better in big fights. Voidrays and Immortals don't scale that well because they're just going to be, like, Voidrays will start hitting Archons, Immortals will start hitting Zealots. It's just not as effective, man. So Stasis Trap's going down. He blinks the Stalker in to try and set off the first Stasis Trap. Does get blasted down. Max Packs is trying to go all in, guys. 8 Voidrays, 5 Immortals, and a Stasis Trap. He does lose his Observer there. Charge, when it kicks in, I think Harstem's going to be good. He moves his Observer forward, Can take that one out. He's going to just set it off the lazy wave because he wants to jump on this army. He does not want to let MaxPax get home, but that stasis trap's his saving grace. Watch this. He's going to blink into it. I guarantee you he's going to blink into that. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Oh, he just... Yep. I friggin' knew it, man. Oh, no. Harstem. Pull back. Run, run, run. He loses a couple of stalkers. The other ones are frozen. MaxPax's going to get out of there. We've still got this one probe trying to clear up this extra expansion. Harstem is actually down in workers right now. Keep in mind, guys, like, there is a full base mining up here for MaxPax. Yeah, he's down in army supply, but it is better quality army supply right now. I really think upgrading air and going more voidrays is not the right way, though. I think the answer here is you want to add Colossus and Disruptors. So to turtle up with this composition, I think the units that make you immune against ground, Colossus for the Zealots, Disruptors for everything else. Basically nothing beats Zealots, so you need to get a couple Colossus out, and you want to always fight in choke points where the Zealots can't get surrounds on you, but then you need to get some balls out to deal with the rest of the units. We'll see what happens here, guys. Harstem trying to come in. He wants to force field those units. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Two Immortals get trapped up front and center, but he backs off. A little bit cowardly there from the Dutchman. No, I think it's a wise call. I don't know. I think maybe he could have won. I think he wants to wait for Prismatic Alignment to wear off. He could do it though. He gets the third base. Oh, I still think he could kill this. Guys, if he A moves and just blinks forward, I honestly think Harstem wins the game. Harstem though has always been a cautious player who likes to kind of positionally push his opponent out. He's much more comfortable defending than attacking. You know, I really feel like I'm watching just a very cautious player every time I watch Harstem. He really wants to set up for the strategic advantage. Went ahead, get more ahead is echoing inside his gigantic brain constantly. He's never, no, I gotta fucking just kill him. Like that is almost never the option Harstem takes. He's him and Showtime, I think, both have some very similar influences in that regard. Oracle comes in and gets another 2 probes. Not bad, not bad. The Voidray model, look at this. He's building pylons to try and inch batteries forward and also to limit the surface area of the Zealot Archon. He's going to try and build some batteries here, trying to get towards that base. More Disruptors are finally coming out, guys, for MaxPax. And like I said, he needs Disruptors to deal with the Archons, but he doesn't have any Colossus to deal with the Zealots. So honestly, I feel like you could just A-move the Zealot Archon, and then the Stalkers can just ruin everything. But that is 11 Voidrays, and oh, the ball! Oh, he gets a bunch of the Stalkers there, but the Immortal's getting ruined by the Zealot Archon, and now that the Archons are there, Voidrays do fucking no damage to the Archons, guys. One Archon falls, but there's another one right there, MaxPax. The problem here is the Archons tank so much. That being said, the Zealots could not kill the Disruptor in the corner. The battery overcharge saves a lot of the Voidrays, but if they get caught there in the open, they could get smashed. Now, the problem is for Harstem, he's got to kill the Disruptor. He can't blink forward unless he goes for the Disruptor, because otherwise he'll lose his Stalkers to the Disruptor shot. Big ball! Clips an Archon. Does take about half of its shields away. Not bad, not bad. Of course, an Archon is 99% shield, so this is that third base does go down. Guys, units lost tab is kind of in Harstem's favor, but Harstem has not been building a big economic lead or anything. This one Oracle keeping MaxPax in the game, honestly, as MaxPax takes the other corner base. Harstem's checking right now. He's like, did you retake the corner, you little shit? Because he's like, hey, if you don't have a third and I do, I'm winning. The problem for Harstem is he's never really ahead in workers. So even though he's got more bases to mine from, which is nice, it's not as huge as you might think. Now, he gets a few Voidrays, but the Prismatic Alignment punishes him. Notice MaxPax cancels it and pulls back once the Archon gets there. But Harstem kills the base. He kills it, and it does not get cancelled. Now, the problem, of course, is that Harstem thinks there's no expansion. He keeps canceling that, so this sells the story of MaxPax don't have an expansion. But MaxPax do have an expansion, Mr. Harstem. Ooh. I can hear the shouts out there. The people, the excited fans, very excited to see the Flying Dutchman do so well, but it's actually the Danish player who has got the flying units this time around. We've got a third base now taking some gases. He's adding a robo and a forge. He wants to start getting some upgrades here, little by little, kind of just strengthening his composition. It's still mostly Voidrays, so this army is so fragile. So there's a few things here that beat MaxPax style, guys. Number one is you can take a billion bases, because MaxPax can't ever move out to pressure with this army. Stalkers, Zealots surround this army and actually annihilate it, right? Number one. No, okay, so Harstem could be really greedy, and you see him doing that now. He's taking Nexus, but he's not probing that much. He could go 70 probes, 20 gateways, and just swarm Zealot Archon Stalker. So that's the first weakness of this style of MaxPax. The second one is that MaxPax has been broke as shit all game. And and he loses his corner base again. So anyway, so he's broke as shit. He can't afford static everywhere. If you get a prism in his main, you do so much damage. Like, he can't defend everywhere at once. MaxPax really needs to create these little setup zones of like stasis traps, cannons, batteries, and he wants you to attack into them. But if Harstem just says, hey, wait, you can't really pressure me, I'm going to hold the probe key down, go for 16 gateways, 80 probes, MaxPax is playing mech. And against a mech player, what do, guys? You take the whole map and then you just swarm them in the late game. And Harstem's kind of doing it, but because the game's been so dicey, it feels like he's afraid to commit to his economy as much as I think he could. I think there's a very easy path to victory here if he does that. As it is he falling behind drastically? Nah. He's still got more bases available. He's going to deny that base with a single zealot. It just, to me, feels like he's not taking advantage quite as much as he could. On the other hand, MaxPax is doing the right thing in that he's got an air weapon upgrade and he's just going to try and go carriers. So he's going to go Fleet Beacon, 2 Stargate carrier. If you hit a certain critical mass of carrier, the gateway units will not do the trick. So MaxPax win condition is 7 minutes from now when he actually has like 8 plus 2 carriers out. And even then, it's still kind of dicey because you need to actually have enough disruptors on the ground to defend it. He's got plenty of voidrays as well. I think with the voidray disruptor, yeah, if he gets 8 plus 2 carriers and Harstem hasn't built a big economy and a big Tempest fleet or something like that, he might actually, MaxPax could actually get this game back. If he were to do that, it would be pretty incredible because, as I said, Harstem has complete and utter map control. He's got a 4th base that's steadily saturating little by little. He's going to attack again into MaxPax, and I don't mind chipping away at the edges, but like I said, if he gets a prism in, if he slides that prism in the main, 1 zealot warp in, it's going to kill 10-15 probes, and MaxPax already has a fragile economy. A stiff breeze could blow MaxPax over in this game. He's trying to just set up this perfect defense, and he's hoping that Harstem kind of gets a boner, can't contain it, doesn't know how to waistband it, and just runs into his defenses headlong. Harstem, we've already talked about how his name is Harstem. He's the least YOLO player of all time. He's Mr. Cautious himself. There's a lot of people who get to late game PvZ and go, oh, this is boring. Then there's Harstem, who has literally been building cannons and batteries outside his opponent's base rather than committing to win the game for years. For years. Like, seriously, I remember in Heart of the Swarm, Harstem would like get ahead in late game PvT against like a top Korean. I'd be like, whoa, Harstem doing so good. And he's like, okay, now I'm going to build 26 cannons and batteries and like, and siege you and just like cover the map in High Templar and Colossus. And you're like, oh, I mean, that's one way to do it. So I don't know if just waiting defensively is going to do it for MaxPax. Obviously, he's got to keep working the carrier count. He's got 3 carriers out now. But it seems like Harstem knows what's happening, man. He's got triple Tempest on the way. He's got +1. 4th Stargate building as well. Tempest can pick that army off from far away. Now, Arc on Stalker can do okay. The problem is, as we've said, like voidrays will eliminate Stalkers very quickly. Tempests, they're a kiting unit. They're not good in a pitched battle. If the voidrays get on top of them, they'll just disappear. So the trick for Harstem is, can I get an Oracle or an Observer to spot your army, pick off a voidray, pull back, pick off a carrier, pull back. And he's going to be doing a lot of those move and shoot tactics ideally. He's still, of course, ahead in supply, so he might be able to just kind of do it in whatever way he feels like it. And funnily enough, he's actually waiting for MaxPax to commit to warp-ins up here. Because MaxPax doesn't know the Observer sees the whole thing, right? And he's like, okay, I'll let you waste money on that because I've got cannons and batteries here. And it won't actually achieve anything. An interesting choice from Harstem. I like the Stalkers. He's got to trade those off. He's trying to get rid of his cheap supply right now and swap into full air dominance. This is a good way to do it, man. It's a good way to do it. The Stalkers are going to run on in. He's going to try and take things out. Oh, he's going to just go for the Nexus. Not a bad thing. A Nexus cannot run away, and there's no battery in range of it, but the Voidrays have fuck veins, and fuck veins Voidrays are ridiculous. Look at that. Stalkers, with Blink, struggle to get away. It's actually insane how quick those Voidrays are, man. He just lost like 6 or 7 Stalkers. Of course, he's trying to trade them out anyway. That's actually crazy, man. You always think of Stalkers as the mobile unit, and then you see the Voidrays. 4.65 move speed. Stalker only 4.13. Of course, the Voidrays are flying. They don't have to move around terrain and stuff. It's pretty sick, man. So yeah, Harstem. I mean, is there such a thing as too many Tempests? I would always argue yes. Now, here's the big reason, guys. How many Tempests does it take to kill a carrier? A carrier has 450 hit points. And a Tempest does 57 damage to Massive. So let's just say, like, I don't know, 350 divided by, you know, that's like 60, 450. Let's say it takes you like 8 Tempest shots to kill a carrier. I think it's roughly that. Obviously, it varies a little bit based on upgrades. +2 will kick in. Let's say it's 8 Tempest shots. Now, if you have like 16 Tempests and you all click on one carrier, half that damage is wasted. And if you don't focus fire, they're just shooting interceptors. So I do think there's a limit. I think 11 Tempests is the absolute max that you'd want to be going for here, where he can lose 2 or 3 and still be one-shotting the carriers and the voidrays. So I'd like to see his own carriers coming out, his own kind of meaty units that are just good at fighting. Notice Harstem drops a tag, so that's going to reveal his opponent's army. But MaxPax has got his own tag out, and he's got some Tempests as well. And the Voidray is going to try and punish by jumping on top. He's throwing a Disruptor down as well. But you see the Archons come in to distract and chase off the Voidrays. And, oh, looks like Harstem shot the Observer there, but it got out of detection range. So you saw, because he lost his Observer, or his Observer was actually just a bit too far back, the Tempest shots fizzled. So you actually need to maintain detection on the enemy units. Stasis Trap's doing very well there again. Guys, MaxPax is bloody survived. I can't believe he's bloody survived. I really do think there was the moment when Harstem busted his main, and he could have just, you know, killed those last few Immortals and Voidrays and won the game from there. I do think he did miss an opportunity there, and it'd be a real bummer if he loses the game from here. On the other hand, he's still got way more money to work with. He's getting +2 plasma shields where there's none for the opponent. He hasn't remembered his extra air attack, which is a bummer. But, oh, Stalker's looking for another snipe. Battery Overcharge says nay. Is that how they say no in Dutch, guys? Nay? How do you say no in Dutch? Let me know in the chat, in the comments. Is it, did I say it right? You see chats, it's more nee. Okay, thank you, chat. It's spelled N-A-J, apparently. He says knee. I mean, MaxPax is Danish, not Dutch, but, you know, he's using the Dutch language because no one speaks Danish. I'll eat a Danish. But yeah, well, other than that, we'll see. Observer over here for MaxPax, trying to follow the army. Not a good idea, MaxPax. There's a cannon there. MaxPax microing his invisible units. Guys, this is such a meme, but he actually does it. He actually does it better than anybody else. Everyone else forgets about their DTs and observers. MaxPax always micros this shit better than anybody else. It's actually, I always joke about it. I'm like, oh, just micro your DTs. That's what he always says, guys. If you want to be a good Protoss player, just micro your DTs. But it's true. It's true. He does it better than anybody else. His observers and DTs never run into cannons. They always survive. And guys, I told you Harstem always does this. There is one player who just is looking for an excuse to build batteries and cannons out of the map. He's obsessed. He is obsessed. He's like, oh, let me do it. Yes, baby. You know, Harstem is like, he's got his blanket, his safety blanket from when he was a little kid, right? He's got his little blankie. For Harstem, the blankie is forward batteries on the map. Forward, that's what makes him feel safe. It makes him feel comfortable. And that's fine. That's fine. Tempests. Oh, the Voidrays. Voidrays are on top. Mama! But the revelation is there, revealing the detection. MaxPax's a little too afraid to commit there. He does have 8 Tempests. He's going to lose one of his Tempests that was trailing that army. I have no frigging idea what you click on in these fights, guys. I feel like you want your Tempests on a different control group, and you can see Harstem does have them there. I don't know about MaxPax. He does not. So MaxPax is going to rely on control clicking his Tempests and shift clicking them, which is a bit harder to do when you've got so many different units in your army. But yeah, he's going to control click his Tempests and then go shift click the enemy Tempests. Whereas Harstem, he's going to grab his control group and shift click the enemy Tempests. Now, the reason you want to take out the Tempests is because they're the range superiority unit. If you win that Tempest fight, you win the battle. But Harstem, he gets a carrier, trades a Tempest for it. He's actually just trading his Tempest for the carriers. And if it's a pitched battle, that's the better call because the carriers are the more important unit. The Voidrays, though. MaxPax Voidrays doing a lot of damage, but they start hitting the Archons. They do not want to waste. And the Archons splash! Oh my god! Harstem. Okay, guys, there was 12 Voidrays, and then 5 Archon hits shot them, and they all got hit by the Archon splash. Oh my god, instant rewind. Watch this battle, guys. Sorry, it's not even 12. It is 15 Voidrays. Now, how many Archons are there? Harstem, 7 Archons. Now, an Archon does bonus to biological. None of these units are biological, but it's still doing 31 damage. Remember, these Voidrays have no armor upgrades. So 31 damage, and they've got splash, right? And look at how much these Voidrays clump. So let's slow this right down and watch this again. So we've got already some Void Ray hits starting to land. I know it's kind of hard to see with the health bars and stuff. Just that's a lot of health bars. Watch them drop. Now, obviously, some Disruptors come out. How many Disruptors were there? There was 6, but he didn't actually hit all of the Archons. Now, if we look at MaxPack's vision, he does have vision of all this, so I think he's got an Observer or 2 in there as well. But let's take a look at this. Also, the Void Rays do infinitely more damage, guys. Look at that. They do 18 damage a shot to armored, only 8 to regular, less than half. So if they're hitting the unarmored Archon units, they don't have an armored tag down here, you see. They're just psionic and massive. They're doing less than half. And Archons, yeah, they don't do that much damage unless you're all stacked on top of each other. Watch this. Watch those Void Rays. Look at these Archons. So you see Harstem tried to spread them a little bit, and they're not doing very well because they were spreading versus the Disruptors. They're hitting Interceptors right now, but you're going to see Harstem control click his Archons. He's got just 3 of them left, and he's going to click them in the center of these Void Rays now. He's going to click on one of the Void Rays right in the middle, so the splash damage hits everything. Watch that Void Ray. Hit points. So there we go. You can see he clicked it. 1, 2. 2 shots just got off. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And every Void Ray is gone. Ooh. And like I said, you want to focus the enemy Tempests, but if it's a pitched battle, you actually want to focus their carriers down because the carriers do more straight up damage. The Tempests, you want to pick off if it's a bit of a skirmish where you're just trying to like vie for position. But in a straight up head-to-head fight, that's the way to do it. And guys, Harstem with a huge upset in that game and a bloody messy one. Yet again, though, saluting MaxPax for that amazing fighting spirit from behind. Almost brought that one back. GG, well played.